Grant Udinski. And if you pick him up, Grant Udinski.
Hey! And if it doesn't work out, Udinski.
Grant Udinski. What a name, huh? We'll see.
They can't throw crap in that one, right? Like they did with Stefanski?
What do you mean?
Krapinski. Just did it.
Stekrapski.
Yeah, Krapski.
I would get emails and it would just say that in the heading. And I'm going, I'm not reading this. All right, I got what you're thinking.
Krapansky. Wait,
Yeah,
that's what we call
Krapansky was
Stefanski.
there. Yeah. Which somebody wrote, you don't win ski with Udinski. I'm like, come on, guys. He's 30 years old. You don't know that. You don't know that.
Do you even know what he sounds like?
Do we have audio of what he sounds like? Let's hear the possible future head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Grant Udinski.
The first one that shows up is kind of his feel in space. Right? You see some of these teams playing zone coverage where they have defenders who have vision on the quarterback and they have different spots to get to and different landmarks, or they're reading off of what our routes are to kind of determine what their drop's going to be. He has a feel for where those defenders are going, where they're trying to get to, and then where his route fits off of that. And that kind of takes a second and third level order of processing, not just to know, we tell you to get to this spot, but this spot is going to open up. Because we're telling you to get to a spot that looks covered. But if you have a great understanding of what the defense is doing or what the defense is trying to do, then you can run your route in a certain way to try to get to that spot on the field or to try to dictate the coverage to play a certain way. All right, now I run a route this way and I lean out a little bit, gets that defender to move out, and now I opened up my window inside.
Nitty-gritty football.
It's time for nitty-gritty football.
Jamison Crowder wheel route down the right sideline. Jordan Reed touchdown and a 4x1 individual ISO slant.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Little things like that are really subtle show up with him when he's running routes. Then you see it in the run game too with my understanding of angles on the block. You see a lot of plays that he's making, getting down blocking safeties, blocking corners. I mean, he's blocking linebackers on some plays.
Oh, so gritty.
And you really can only do that when there's a physical mismatch at time. If you have great technique, great angles, you have a great understanding of where the run is going to go, where the blocks inside are going, because how those blocks distribute will change how the safety or the linebacker is going to trigger on the run.
Give me more grit.
Right, because they're keen. He knows, okay, the safety is keen, the tight end, or the safety is keen, the tackle. The tackle does this. This is the safety's response going to be. And because he's responding like that, I have to take this angle. That's a really high level, series of thought to be able to go out there and play fast and execute that type of block for just a simple run play.
That's a little too gritty.
But to be able to process all of that so fast does require really a special feel for understanding the game of football and just a feel for space out there.
Don't even interview him. Just give him the job.
That's a job.
Just give him the job, guys. What are we doing?
Is this Vince Lombardi's great-great-grandson?
Oh, that sounds like Bill Walsh.
My God. Let's go.
Just give him the job.
It's a no-brainer.
What are we going to do? We're going to get Mike McDaniel in here, Mr. Cool, and just take phone calls about his pants when they lose 30-6? That's all we'll do. Sunglasses and pants calls every single Sunday. I might as well take this kid. 30 years old. Is he married? Ain't got no wife, ain't got no kids. He's married to the game. Oh, exactly, baby.
I saw that yesterday because that was the whole thing about McVay, right?
Hell yeah.
That this was going to be his labor of love 24/7. It's funny, we just got done talking to Doug Gottlieb, who is in town tonight for Cleveland State and Milwaukee, going to battle it out the Wolstein Center. And he said, hey, people don't really know what coaches do, or more importantly, what they don't do, what they delegate. Well, does that sound like a delegator? That sounds like a guy's going to take over the whole city.
Sounds like a guy who knows what the hell he's doing, man.
He's going to get that dome greenlit even faster.
Guy who knows football. That's a football guy. It's a football kid, and we're going to hire him, and he's going to be a football man.
Yeah. He comes come in and say, put these trusses and these mounts together, get these bolts. Have a dome by 2027.
He's going to come here, and Burke Lakefront, the next day, they will implode that thing.
See ya.
Well, I hope they don't implode it. You still need the land there, don't you? Because we're going to build all that infrastructure, huh?
What about the air show?
5 Ferris wheels. We'll have 5 Ferris wheels.
5 Ferris wheels. It's the 5 Ferris wheel city. The Forest 5 Ferris wheel city. Huh, Mayor? Come on, Mayor, huh?
Anybody can do one.
Imagine how much you could charge for parking there, huh, Mayor?
Can you do 5?
We had 2 Cokes, and we struck a deal.
That's how we're going to get Udinski.
That's how it works.
That's how we're getting Udinski.
and we're just getting started.
Obviously, I'm being crazy, but there's something about it. I don't know, man. It's just like, you know what? There comes a time in every Browns fan's life where you go, what the hell? You say, what the hell? You know? And maybe that's the audio they play at his induction ceremony, is a guy on the radio going, what the hell? Hey. Now, I got concerns about his support system, and Doug Gottlieb, we had him on, and Doug Gottlieb was like, and by the way, did I say this or did I not say this before Doug came on and said it about the play calling thing? It's like, well, you're going to hire him, but you're going to hire a play caller. Maybe Tommy Rees is going to call plays for the third. Whoa, Tommy Rees. Well, we talk about Jim Schwartz at 59 years old working with a young man. Will Tommy Rees at 34 be able to work for a 30-year-old? Or do we just hire some other play caller? You want Arthur Smith to come over here and call play? Okay. No, I know you don't. I mean, think about it. All right, turn on your mic. How many wins do you think they're going to get in 2026? Go. Right now, tippy top of your head. Go.
I said 5 a week ago.
Owen?
Yeah, with the current roster, 5.
Who are you going to give more time to? 30-year-old Grant Udinski or Cool Shades McDaniel? Which one are you going to give him? Who's going to get more time?
I mean, it depends. Is one of them finally going to actually come on the show every week, like in most big cities?
We might be able to get Udinski.
My God, nobody in this Browns team would ever do that.
Okay, put the safety back on for crying out loud.
Tom Brady went on weekly in New England
with Jim Gray,
and no Browns would ever want to come on.
Well, we got to get Barbasol lined up, and then
Ben in Pittsburgh would come on weekly. Can't get one in Cleveland. Like, come on.
He needed Pony to hold his hand. All right, go back to this. Hold on for a second before you end up in a meeting today. Go back to this. Now here we are. You got a 30-year-old young man out there, and I worry about his support system. Clearly, I worry about his support system because you got a tenuous situation with the general manager. I think if they hired him, I think the owner, and guys, he did it for Kevin. I think the owner would go, hey, he needs time. Give him time. But at the same time, are you letting a 30-year-old then turn around and help you hire your general manager if you move on from the general manager? I think what a guy like Udinski does is he buys more time. Now, there's so many other tenables to it where you're thinking, that's definitely not the word I'm using, but I'm thinking off the top of my head, guys. If you hire Grant Udinski, then I think we will get to a point about Myles Garrett's contract and all that other stuff. But if you're only going to win 5 or 6 games, you will have more time because you're going to go, hey, he's 30 years old. Let's let him grow into the position. If you're going to win 5 or 6 games with Mike McDaniel, you're going to go, what are we doing here? And I still think that Mike McDaniel's the leader in the clubhouse. I'm still predicting him. And they haven't met with Udinski yet. But if I got all these NFL people, I mean real NFL people, not just, when you say the insiders get moved by agents, so I don't want to hear about that. When you got legitimate guys who are in the business, and they're going, hey, man, it's just a matter of time in the next couple of years he's going to be a head coach. You can't help but think, well, why don't we just make him a head coach? We have time. We're not going to go anywhere. Let's just make him the head coach. Maybe it's a different idea on offense, and then you have Jim Schwartz running the defense, and maybe you're able to get that play caller, and you're able to do it differently. And guys, there are plenty of pitfalls to 30-year-old head coaches that there are almost too many to name of the pitfalls. But if we want to do it this way, go right on ahead and do it. Think about it. 30 years old, just a baby, just a pup. If he's going to be a legend, quote unquote, well, why don't you make him a legend?
Well, you hire a guy like that, the big deal, huge deal, and a big part of it is getting off to a good start, right? I mean, isn't that everything? What you absolutely cannot do is have an inexperienced guy, never called plays before, never been in that kind of position of leadership, and then you have a 3-14 season or a 4-13, because nobody will have patience for anything like that.
No, they won't. You want me to get to the calls now?
Go ahead.
Coaching searching? Okay, and then
I'd like to bring him in. Let's go.
I want to play Nick Wright's call. All right, was Nick Wright on with Afternoon Drive yesterday? What the hell was Nick doing?
No, he was just hosting.
It was just First Things First. Okay, I did not get to hear very much yesterday. Obviously, we were getting ready for Snowmageddon. Yeah, sorry. All right, let me get to MK in Vermont. Hello, MK.
Hey, guys. So I'm getting really mad here. And you guys are making me mad today because I think you're not being real honest, and I don't think it's not your fault because you can't be honest.
Why can't I be honest?
Because this coaching search is a poop sandwich. And I think nobody is saying that because we all want to give the Browns the benefit of the doubt and whatever and not really go after them. But you, for months, have said if you're going to call here and ask to fire somebody, you better have names. You better have a plan. And here's the Browns with this scattershot coaching search because they didn't have a plan. They can't get any of the people that they want. And so now you're telling me this morning that we're not hiring a coach to win. Nope, not going to hire a coach to win. We're going to hire a coach to buy some time. Well, that's why I watch football.
Well, MK,
to buy time.
MK, hold on here. I'm not going to run you off. I've said this whole time. I think they have two names that are right up at the tippy top. I think they'll either hit the reset to Jim Schwartz, which you can think whatever you want about that, and I think they really like. I think they're going to pick Mike McDaniel. I'm not denying that. Now, those weren't the names that I thought of right off the tippy top when this came in. So, but I mean, I think that they've had those kind of names right there all along. But I think they are going to do their quote unquote due diligence. I mean, if this ends up in Pettenland, and I don't mean to besmirch Mike Petten because I do like Mike personally, but if this ends up in the 7th pick or anything like that, then yeah, go right on ahead. Especially according to what Mary Kay just said about the whole who the hell was it? Now I can't. Dan Quinn, the whole Dan Quinn thing. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they can't get those guys. You've got Monken. You've got Monken who is taking a coordinator job after interviewing for our head coach job because nobody wants to be our head coach.
Correct.
We're looking at Grant Udinski, who I've never heard of before. It's 30-year-old, unproven coordinator guy because they can't get the guys they want. The coaching search for the Browns candidates that they can get and the coaching search for the Ignatius head coach job, that Venn diagram is a circle. You cannot get people to come in here because your
but MK,
general manager who is in charge of the search can't bring in players.
MK, I've been honest with you this entire process. I've never said that this was a good job. In fact, I argued with Anthony yesterday in the morning about that this job. Lima said that this job was better than the Steelers' job. I told him he was nuts. I told him he was lying to you.
That's crazy.
Or lying to himself. Anyway.
Are you saying, MK? Are you saying that regardless of the pool of candidates, and sometimes new guys emerge that you might have had, on a radar, but until you got a chance to talk to them, you're saying you should never fire a coach if the candidate pool is not robust enough. You can't fire your existing coach, no matter how bad it has gotten over the course of 2 years.
Of all of the people that we could get, Stefanski is better than all of them. And we cannot get anybody better because our talent is horrible. And our owner came out and said the dumbest thing ever, which is, I'm keeping my GM, and not only am I keeping my GM, I'm putting him in charge of the coaching search because he had one good draft, which if you're 30 other teams in the NFL, that wasn't a good draft, that was an average draft. Okay,
it was bad. It was a good draft. Now his other drafts, I can't sit there and argue. I think anybody would look at it and say it's a good draft, MK. Now I know you're not happy. Listen, I know you're not happy. I'm trying to be honest and fair about all these things. And the whole time I'm talking about this, I've never once said it was a really good job. It ain't a good job. It ain't a good job. I'll call it what it is. That's why I'm very interested in a 30-year-old, because maybe he can bail us out of that situation. Or I'm interested in Jim Schwartz because he can get people really excited that are already on this football team.
Yeah, I think Schwartz is gonna say goodbye. I think he's. I don't think he would probably want this job.
That would hurt big time.
That would suck. MK,
I think there's
I gotta let you go. I thank you very much for the call. See, I'll be honest with everybody.
Just because
he's mad, no, I'll let him be mad.
But we do this every coaching cycle. Just because we have not heard of the guys or we have just caught wind of them recently and they're inexperienced, that also is not a disqualifier. This is what we've been talking about. Whether it was with Doug Gottlieb earlier today, or it's tough for fans because all right, Harbaugh's name was out there, and so obviously we all grabbed it. So did every other football fan. Maybe not all the young ones, but there were a bunch of football fans who obviously would have done anything it took to get Harbaugh. But there are a lot of no-name coaches that had a quick rise, meteoric rise, that did end up being really good. Yeah. And obviously Mike Tomlin, look at his quick rise to the head coach of the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers. It can happen.
I'm in a position.
There's no guarantees in any of this. You could take retreads, and we've done that. We've taken retreads. That didn't work.
I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say
we've done it every way you can do it. None of it seems to have worked. Kevin Stefanski was the closest thing, but it got sour at the end.
I've lied to myself many times during a season. I'm not lying to you about this situation. This ain't a good situation. But if I just sit here and say, this sucks and we're not going to get anybody good, what's the point of even rooting for the football team? What's the point of calling myself a Browns fan? I got to find a way to dig out of it. And that doesn't absolve Andrew Berry of any of the responsibility. It doesn't absolve anybody involved with this of any of the responsibility. It doesn't. It doesn't. I have to try to take a bad situation and make it decent first before I take a bad situation and make it great. So, yeah, man, we're not going to probably win very many football games next year. They believe in New York that they can win some more football games. That's why John Harbaugh's going there, and that's why he's taking Todd Monken with him. And MK in Vermont is right. Todd Monken interviewed for this head coaching job and said, peace, thanks, but no thanks. I've worked with you guys before. We're moving on. Fair. Absolutely fair, because I've never been able to look anybody in the eye and tell you that this is the best job available, because it ain't. And I don't even think it's in the top half.
And every year, though, there are 6 to 10 job openings in the NFL. Is MK trying to make us all believe that...
No, MK's just a fan and he's mad.
I get it.
And he's a lot.
But is he trying to make us all believe that every team has the guy that they want, they fire their coach to go get that guy, and they get that guy? That almost never happens. That rarely happens. Like, you have a process for a reason. You also have to allow yourself to be open-minded in a process. You can't go in stuck, dead set on a guy.
That's right. You're right about that. But what he may be saying is that we're giving them too much credit for being zoned in on a certain group of people. Because, listen, one of the worst things I could hear is that after this is done, say whoever they hire, if they bring in somebody and we find out that they really didn't have any idea and they threw it all together, I'll be sick to my stomach. I do believe, and I got nothing that tells me a bunch of crazy things, I think they thought that Mike McDaniel still might get let go down there. And I think that they thought that they were going to go and make an adjustment on offense because they think they're a lot closer than what we think. And so they have names that are in there. And I hope I'm right about that, because if I'm not right, I might feel worse about it, but I'll pick myself back up and we'll move on. Because MK's right. Lima, you and I'm not going to put your business out there. I've been a part of these things before in areas, okay? You don't just fire a guy and have 12 different names that you lay out there. I'll just say it right now. From some of the experiences that I've had already in 14 years on the Fan, I've been blessed to be asked my opinion of. And I've told people that you got 14 names over there. You should have done this differently, and you're going to ruin yourself. And yeah, we've been there, and I've ended up being right about that. I don't want to sit there and talk about it on the air all the time. You can, if you want to. I'll just say it on my end. So it's the same thing. You have to have an idea of what you want out of the candidate before you fire a guy. That's the entire point of why I got mad at Pony the other day. If I just go on the radio and say that somebody needs to be fired, that doesn't do anything. Just saying everything sucks and that people needs to be fired, you could say that at any time. And I'm sure we've all said it at any time when we've been mad. But just being mad all the time ain't going to get me to Tuesday now, is it?
But I guess I just disagree with the thought that if you think things went so far south and you thought it was irredeemable, irreparable, and I think that's where most of us had gotten to with Stefanski, I don't think you don't fire him because there's a bunch of no-namer candidates in the pool. Like, you're telling me there's not a candidate, there's not legit candidates to be head coaches every year in the NFL, and you're just supposed to keep the guy that you had, even if you thought maybe in the locker room there were some things that were uneven? I don't know.
There was one time, and by the way, going back to the call, I'll go back to the call one more time because we're gonna end up having to go to break, and I want to play this Nick Wright audio for everybody. But it's also, and I will give MK credit for this. While I disagreed, it's happened before. That's why I hold such a grudge against Joe Banner. That's why. Because you sold ownership on this idea that you couldn't provide. And then you were left with nothing. And then it led us to even more failing. That's why I hold such a grudge against the guy. Plus, he goes on social media and acts like he's God's gift to everything. But he made my life as a Browns fan far worse. Like Rob Chudzinski, whatever. Like, you made these decisions. You move on from him. Maybe he wouldn't have been the best guy, but you move on so quickly and nobody wanted you. And so we ended up with the situation that we were in for another 2 years, and then we moved on to another situation. Like, these things all play off of each other. That's why there is a lack of trust there. So that's why, and guys, to be honest with you, that's why Kevin got 6 years. Because you have to build up trust amongst the rest of the NFL and amongst the rest of the agents that you're not just going to turn around and handcuff the guy that you're hiring in the next year. That's why it takes a little bit to get the smell off you after a while. When you let guys like Joe Banner go do what he did. Didn't know we'd get to this level here on a bad day, on a snow day here. My gosh. At least my blood's pumping, huh? All right, we actually just argued about an old man.